King James Daemonologie shenanigans.
Demonology in form of a dialogue or conversation, divided into 3 books, written by the High and Mightie Prince James, by the grace of God, King of England, Scotland, France, and Ireland, defender of the faith. London, printed by Arnold Hatfield for Robert Walgrave, 1603.
That's right. I've had experiences with being tricked by the devil, and I'm going to tell you, it ain't no joke. Let's shift the conversation just a bit. I want to circle back to something here. First off, it would make me very happy if you could tell me, what is this you call magie and necromancy? I'm glad that you asked. Let's start with the word magie. Now, this is an ancient way in which they said magic. Okay, that let's get that out there to begin with. It's from the Persian language, they say. The Persian language or tongue. Some say Persian, some say Hebrew even. And some even pronounce it Hebrew, depending on the region of the world you're from. In this tongue from a foreign land, basically. It means, get this, someone who studies, reads, or divines heavenly sciences. By the way, this was first used by the Chaldeans. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Only through their plain ignorance of the true divinity. All this was very well honored and respected by them as not being wrong but right, was held as high in places. And with this, it was actually named with high regard and honor. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. They say Greeks copied off of the name and also started doing all kinds of forbidden arts. And the word necromancy, they say, is a Greek word and just comes from also Latin and Roman language. The word just means to prophesy by using the spirits of the dead. Now, this name right here is given to this black and forbidden science because the main part of the art is to serve themselves with the spirit of the dead carcasses of animals in their divination or divining work. How is this all different than witchcraft? Another good question. Oh, yes, the very common big old difference between them, which they say is pretty much true. The witches are servants only and slaves of the devil. But the necromancers and conjurers, get this, commands the devil as his master. What you say? Now, how can this be true? So folks tricked and enslaved by him can turn around and be his commander? Oh yeah, they may be. But only how they say in some big fancy schools, Latin or Roman language. Secundum quid. Well, it's just a loose statement, meaning they don't really command him. It's an agreement that they get into with the devil. He offers to obliges himself in this agreement between these folks to some things that are not too important. Doesn't mean a thing, really. What he is trying to do, listen to this, he is trying to gain access to their body and soul. This is what he always hunts for. What you say, what you say, what you say. That doesn't seem like an even swap or trade to me. Now tell me, Demo, what exactly happens? What are the secrets of this art? Child, that is a pretty tall order you give me. Yet I will do the best I can. The long and short of the matter, in 2 main points, is there are a couple sorts of folks that may be tempted by these arts. What comes to mind are those who are educated, and those who have no formal education at all. So, in those two ways, they can stir up all kinds of curiosity, trying to get it all fed so they can get into this art themselves. This will make them give themselves over in these two ways to what I call the devil's school and his basic training. The educated have their interest piqued to their liking by what I'm calling the devil's school, for instance, in what is called judiciary astrology. Many men have learned these arts well and have so much knowledge, but it doesn't mean anything. It's sad. It can be pointless. They act like they are experts about something so boring. For instance, they try to boost themselves up about knowing all kinds of things about the supernatural world by looking up in the heavenly skies. Also, they claim to know what things are going to happen based on the heavenly skies, which at first glance, to them it seems nothing is wrong with it because it makes them feel like it is all supernatural and mystical. They are drawn into this practice. They study to know and to prove little simple things, things that are not even important. Then they go from one thing to the other on the very slippery slope of unsure curiosity. And then end up, get this, wind up once again persuaded by the devil. And where the approved arts of science does not satisfy their restless minds, they would then seek that black, dark, and forbidden science of magie. Then the next thing is all kinds of circles and conjurations are brought into the mix to call up a work in conjuring of all these spirits to make them feel like they are doing something special or smart, throwing a few words of God in as well. This is just too much confusion. Then they have the nerve to act like this has something to do with the circles they're using when they conjure. Want to make themselves out to be so intelligent, as if looking up in the sky at the dominions of Pluto's is actually doing something, like Pluto's had become the ruler of the underworld. In the meantime, crazy fools, just by doing this, they are now slaves of the devil. This so called knowledge they claim to have, it didn't do any good. All it did was have them to know more evil. After all this, they are getting hellfire punishment by God. Just like Adam when he bit off of that forbidden fruit.